Hello everyone, welcome to today's Knowledge webinar, Introducing TurboCAD 2021. Join us for discussion and demonstration of the key new features and improvements to the TurboCAD 2021 product line, including performance, 3D modeling, architectural, 2D drafting, and interoperability. Today's webinar presenter, Bob Mayer, is the co-founder of IMSI and founder of IMSI Designer, and has been involved in software development and publishing since the early 1980s. During his time at IMSI, TurboCAD established itself as the #1 retail CAD product in the world, continuing to add professional level functionality to the program in both the mechanical and AEC design areas. Now, here's where you can find TurboCAD online at knowledge.com. Just search for TurboCAD and you'll see the entire product line. Knowledge is changing the way designers purchase 3D software, offering more choices, more freedom, best advice, and faster service. Check us out at knowledge.com. Now, without further ado, I will switch to Bob Mayer so it can showcase the new TurboCAD. Take it away, Bob.
Thank you, Barbara. Welcome, everyone. I thought before I get into the sort of the specific enhancements to 2021, I'd just talk briefly about sort of the history of TurboCAD as well as how we see it positioned in the computer-aided design market. TurboCAD has been around for a long time, as many of you know. We started, the first products were DOS versions, and this was back in the early 1990s, about 1990. And then we released our first Windows version back in 1991, and it's evolved ever since. Unlike AutoCAD, our strategy was to kind of come from the ground up, if you will, or the more consumer level. So our products followed a model that was being set by another company called Generic CAD. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but it was under $100. And that's the model we followed for many years, starting with some very basic 2D and then 2D, 3D surface modeling. And over time, the product has evolved to be a fully featured 3D solid modeler certainly on the mechanical design side, and then on the AEC side of things, it's a full-featured, I would call it architectural CAD product. Maybe not certainly as sophisticated as Chief Architect or Revit, but certainly comparable, and then more so than AutoCAD. And that is sort of the overall arching strategy that we've tried to pursue. And that is being sort of the leader in the middle. And by middle, meaning our CAD product, we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves as either a mechanical CAD or an AEC CAD product. We've chosen to be, sort of a competitor primarily against AutoCAD and AutoCAD LT. And a lot of the enhancements that have been made are really there to create not a clone CAD like many products that you've seen from Bricks or Graybird, but a product that people who are familiar with the AutoCAD line feel very comfortable with, and comfortable with both from the user interface perspective, and probably more importantly, from the compatibility or round-tripping ability of DWG files or DWF files, and of course DXF files. So that's the position that we continue to focus in on these days. I think that it's served us pretty well, because it's in many areas it's enabled us to kind of go past the AutoCAD products in terms of functionality, because Autodesk itself doesn't want to add too much mechanical functionality, because then their product butts up against Fusion 360 and Inventor, and then on the AEC side on against Revit or even the older architectural AutoCAD architecture. Okay, so with respect to 2021, what we've tried to do is make enhancements across the board. And those enhancements run the gamut of user interface and usability, 2D drafting enhancements, 3D modeling enhancements, interoperability enhancements, and I think that we're most proud of is the performance enhancements in 2021. What you're looking at here is a 80+ megabyte file that it's an AutoCAD file. In fact, it's a DWG file, and oh geez, what I want to be able to try and show you what we're doing here. Of course, it's now giving me issues. Is the performance just being able to manipulate a file this large. And so, George, you want to just kind of show panning around or moving this file. So again, keep in mind the size of this and the redraw speed on this. And what I'll do is I'll try and come and then zoom to extents maybe. So if you zoom to extents. So now I'm going to flip over to the prior version of TurboCAD with the same 80 megabyte drawing loaded, and you can kind of see the difference. It'll probably there we go. So now we're in 2020, and we're going to try and just move this around, and you can kind of see the sort of the static jerkiness of the program. So head back to 2021, and so how did we get these performance gains? Well, what we've begun to integrate into TurboCAD is a technology we got from the Open Design Alliance called Visualize, and so it's meant that we've sort of re-architected, all the underlying processes as it relates to the handling of large files, whether it's zooming, panning, making copies of them, anything to do with the handling of these files. And so, from the user's perspective, this becomes a much more usable product for, professional files that, architects or designers may be using. Yeah. I mean, historically, TurboCAD had some issues, in the 10 to 15 megabyte file size, and again, this is over 80, and we've actually been playing around with files upwards of 200 megabytes, and so we're just very happy with this. So that I think is probably the most significant enhancement to the product, and what you're seeing here is found in all of the 2D, 3D versions of TurboCAD. I might mention the product lineup. We have a platinum product, which is our most full-featured version that comes both as under a permanent license as well as a annual subscription. And the permanent license is $1,500. The subscription is $500 annual, and you can talk to NoVig about maybe a special pricing that they may be offering. And then we have a professional version, which is $1,000 on the permanent license and $400 for the subscription. And finally, our most popular selling product is our deluxe version, which has a retail price, a permanent license price of $230 and a subscription price of $100. Anyway, George, you want to load the grid? Yeah. One of the things that we continue to do in the 2D drafting side of things is we try and make the suite of 2D drafting tools as comparable to AutoCAD, or in particular AutoCAD LT, as possible. We in this release 2021, We've added an architectural grid, which is something that TurboCAD users have been asking for a long time to do. It's you know, a great tool in positioning objects on the screen. I was trying to bring up an image of that. Maybe if you unload TurboCAD 2020, just close it. It's just yeah. So that's one of the other key enhancements. Yeah, kill that one. And then also on the drafting side, we made a number of enhancements to XREFs and direct editing of blocks. Before you edit them through a blocks palette, now you can directly edit a block inside your drawing. We've done some other things like being able to animate the D-cube constraints. Yeah, so I think it's 2020 that's choking everything down. Of course, we've always updated the compatibility of AutoCAD to make sure that it's compatible with the most current DWG versions out there. On the 3D design side of things, we've added some 3D mapping tools, which being able to do UV representations on the surfaces and faces of TurboCAD. We've added applying patterns, so we can now take ACES operations and apply them to different 3D pattern elements. And we've done other simple things like make our imprint tool so that we can integrate blocks into the imprint tool that contain 2D contours. There's some other performance enhancements we've made on the 3D side of things, which is for when we're doing faceting, we can do multi-threaded faceting. And the last area that we take real pride in is the interoperability. Since 2020, we added a number of what we call high-end mechanical CAD file formats so that we can import SolidWorks, Solid Edge, Inventor, Parasolids drawings into TurboCAD. And so we added that file import capability in 2020, and in excuse me, in 2021 we began to add export capability. So there's now round tripping capability with respect to these high-end mechanical CAD features. In addition to that, the key file formats like DWG and DXF are constantly updated, as is Sketchup. So we're now compatible both from import and export of Sketchup 2021. And the last area of interoperability, and this has become more and more of a key thing in terms of CAD workflow, is being able to a new publish to PDF tool. And so this new tool sort of streamlines the whole taking a CAD file and publishing it as a PDF by being able to integrate 2D and 3D objects into the same drawing. And so that's, we have the ability to import 2D and 3D PDF, and we can export 2D and 3D PDF either separately or in a packaged PDF format. Those are really sort of the the highlights. I'm sorry we're having issues here with trying to. I'm not sure. Oh, let's just go to the video of. Yeah. What I want to show here briefly is our 3D mapping tools. Can you reset that? Yeah. And so 3D mapping of a 3D object. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, go ahead. And you can see any and all these videos here on TurboCAD.com. We've got YouTube videos that describe all of the key new features, including Visualize, 3D mapping, 3D imprints, and you can certainly take a look at those in more detail yourself in the new features section of any of the new TurboCAD 2021 products. So what we're going to be doing here is just doing a mapping of this. Put that. While this is going, does anybody have any questions?
There are no questions for now, but we're here, so type them in the question tab. Don't be shy.
Okay. So what it did is take that 2D drawing and map that onto the cylinder. So again, functionality like this is things you don't really have the ability to do in AutoCAD. And so again, if you are an AutoCAD user and you are doing mechanical design, this really takes it to a different level. And you're starting to get into 3D mechanical design functionality that's more comparable with much more expensive mechanical CAD products like SolidWorks. Just want to see if this thing had come back. No. Any other? I don't see any. Let's see. Chat. How do I get? Where'd the cursor go? Click on chat. Yeah. Huh. I guess I'm not seeing any questions in chat either.
No, there are no questions so far.
Okay. It's okay. Not sure what else to add. No.
You have a question, this is the bad time. You have Bob all to yourselves, and he's the man.
It. I'll put it in.
Bob, we have one question. How is the compatibility with either Revit or Vectorworks?
With respect to Revit, we have full IFC support. So to the extent that we're not importing native Revit files, but to the extent that Revit is exporting an IFC file, we can read that file. We can also then write that file and round trip it back to Revit. So that's we call that sort of simple BIM. We're not trying to position ourselves building information modeler the same way that Revit is, but we do we are able to exchange data with them through the support of industry foundation classes. I think the other one was respect to Vectorworks. Yeah, we do not support the Vectorworks native file formats.
All right, hope that answered your question, Jelena. Yeah, good. If you have more questions, this is a good time.
What was I going to add? One of the other things that we do take pride in is that we do have very good STL file format, stereolithography, so that if you are doing any kind of 3D printing of models. We've got not just good import and export, but we have really good error checking, so that ensure that when you go to print a 3D model, that it's, you know, a watertight model. We have tools that are embedded in the product that clearly identify any misdesigned elements of the file, and gives you the ability to actually correct those errors in the file. So you know that's really applicable to both mechanical CAD design, mechanical CAD, as well as architecture, especially, you know, people who are wanting to print out models of the houses that have been drawn, or, you know, for that matter, a commercial building. So again, interoperability is something we do take great pride in, running the gamut from these professional mechanical filters to industry standard filters like IFC, DXF, STL, IGES, and STEP, and of course from basic workflow documentation using PDF filters. So, and then one other thing I wanted to mention on the architectural side, TurboCAD, unlike AutoCAD proper, has the ability to read and write AutoCAD extensions from AutoCAD architecture. So we call them intelligent architectural objects. So doors, windows, roofs, walls, slabs, stairs, railings. These are object types, defined object types that can all be created in AutoCAD architecture. TurboCAD can read those, can write those, create those natively, and then we can export them as DWG, and then they can be read by AutoCAD architecture. So that's another strong area of interoperability in the product, this time though on the AEC side of things.
Great, this is great news. And what about the compatibility with SketchUp?
Again, full compatibility with SKP file filters all the way up through SketchUp 2021, both. So we can round trip those. We can import and we can write to the SKP 2021 file format.
Cool. And
so whatever CAD or graphics program, with the exception, I guess, of Vectorworks, we're pretty compatible with.
Perfect. That's great news. And there's another question from Richard. I'm using 2020 Deluxe, and I can save and send DWG files to AutoCAD users, but I cannot open DWG files. Is that an operator error, or there's a way for me to open the DWG files?
My experience is, if you're not able to open the file at all, it generally means it was created by a newer version of AutoCAD than, say, the TurboCAD you're running. For example, if you're running TurboCAD 2020, I would say that this was a product that was created in a version of AutoCAD that was released in 2021. TurboCAD 2020 was released in the first quarter of 2020, and so any subsequent releases of AutoCAD may not be compatible. But if it's that same year or a prior version of AutoCAD, you shouldn't have any problems opening the file, other than there's always a chance that for example, an SHX font is not going to be read properly, but file open you should have no issues with. And then last resort, Richard, you can always send me the file and I can take a look at it if it's not otherwise proprietary, and I can one of the things I always do is I try and open it first in TrueView, Autodesk TrueView product, and when I open it there, it will immediately tell me if it was a product or a file rather that was created in AutoCAD. And so and the other problem that I see a lot is broken XREFs that will create errors. Somebody will convert, will save the file, but there'll be XREFs, and the XREF links won't carry through, and that'll throw errors. It generally won't preclude the loading of the file, though. Anyway, like I said, if you'd like, my email is bmayer, B-M-A-Y-E-R, at imsidesign.com, and you're free to send any problematic files to me, and I can take a look at them.
Thank you, Bob, for your availability. That's great. And
Sure.
Yeah, there are no questions so far. So did you want to add anything else, demo something else?
I don't think so. I'm having little issues with this machine here. Let me just, I wanted to, the only other thing. No, I think I'm good. I think I've kind of touched on the highlights again. Being able to open and really effectively use large files that you may typically get on the AEC side of things is one of the real enhancements of TurboCAD 2021.
Okay, great. We're very excited. I will show again where everybody can find TurboCAD at novage.com. So give us a call, ask us anything, and we'll be here for you. Thanks again for joining us today and for your time, Bob. Looking forward to get a lot of requests for TurboCAD, and looking forward to another webinar with you and your team. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.